Thanks for tuning in to No Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today we're going to talk about a wine style from central Italy called Umbria Rosso. Now, if you're like me, I've just been absolutely beat up these last 2.5 years from inflation. The price of everything is going up and up and up. And when we look at wines in our local wine store, they also are following that trend. So it's always nice to seek a value wine that overperforms but costs less than other wines. And Umbria really hits that sweet spot. So when we look at Umbria as a whole, it couldn't be any more central Italy. So from north to south, it's right in the middle. East to west, it's right in the middle. It is completely landlocked. And when we look at its neighbors around it, we have Tuscany to the west, we have Marca to the east, and we have Lazio to the south. When we look at Umbria as a whole, it seems like it'll always be the bastard stepchild of Tuscany. And I don't mean that in a bad way. When we look at Italy as a whole, Piemonte and Tuscany seem like they get all the credit for producing high quality wines, and because of that reputation, they get all the dollars for producing those wines. And there's beautiful wines in Umbria. So when we look at the classifications of wines in Italy, we always see DOCG as our highest expression of quality and tradition. And in Umbria, there's only 2 DOCG level wines. One's called Sagrettino di Montefalco, and I did produce a No Wine in No Time video on that grape and that wine style, so you may want to check that out. And there's also one called Umbria Rosso. So when we look at those two, now everything else that's produced in Umbria is either a DOC level wine, which there are some, or in the case of this Umbria Rosso, is an IGT level wine, which stands for Indicazione Geografica Tipica, which means that it's a wine grown in a specific area and typical for what wines are produced in that area. So that gives the winemaker the maximum amount of flexibility. So when we look at Umbria Rosso, those grapes can be sourced from anywhere in Umbria, and they can be either single varietal or a blend, most of them are blends, of any of the legal grapes to be grown in Umbria. And those are Sagrettino, Sangiovese, Colorino, Merlot, and Cabernet Sauvignon. So when we look at Umbria Rosso, as I told you before, when you seek them out in your store, they are going to overperform, but the price is really very reasonable. So let's see what I have for you today, and if you go into your wine store, what you might expect for an IGT level Umbria Rosso. So the one I picked for you today is from a vintner by the name of Falesco, and this is their Vidiano, and this is a Umbrian Rosso. Now this one's got a little age on it. It's a 2018. I've had it before. I purchased it for $10 US, and it really drinks like at least a $20 wine. So let's take a look. Before we go, the blend in this one is a third, a third, a third. Sangiovese, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot. So let's go ahead and take a look. This wine is quite opaque, very purplish around the edges, a little bit transparent around the edges, but pretty much deep dark purple. If I swirl to liberate the aromas, what jumps out of the glass is really somewhere between dark fruit, wood, and sweet baking spices. So that's the aromas that it's giving up. Let's see how it performs across the palate. When we taste Falesco's creation, this Umbria Rosso, the first thing we're greeted with is plum and really dark berry flavor, somewhere between a blackberry and a cherry. And mid-palate, we see a beautiful lift of acidity, keeping everything very fresh, even though this is a 2018. And then some of those spices start to kick in. I get everything from cardamom to cinnamon, and even almost some savory spices in there as well. Really beautiful, well-rounded. On the back side of the palate, I feel some of that toasty oak and a really long and lingering finish. So remember, this is a $10 US wine, and it gave us all that in our glass. Now you might be asking, what do I pair an Umbria Rosso with? Well, one of the things they have in Umbria is wild boar, and this is something that goes beautiful with wild boar. However, I live in North America, but I'm an avid bow hunter, and what I'm going to pair this wine with is a venison tenderloin that I got from the last deer that I harvested. So I think it's going to go perfect with that. So I got some cooking to do, so I'm going to get on that, and I really ask that you come back next time, because soon you'll know wine in no time.